Green. We're going to palpate some muscles. First, we're going to do the tibialis anterior. So to find the tibialis anterior, you do inversion and dorsiflexion. So it connects to the top of your foot right here and goes all the way up to the lateral side of the tibia shaft, connects to the lateral condyle of the tibia, and then runs across down the leg and connects to the medial cuneiform of the first base of the metatarsal. Next is the extensor digitorum longus. It's through the second and fifth toes of the metatarsals. So to find that, you go dorsiflexion and eversion of the foot, and so then you see it right here. So it connects to your second through your fifth toe. Then that connects to the lateral condyle of the tibia down to the anterior shaft. Next is the extensor hallucis longus. So to find that, you eversion and dorsiflexion. So that runs from the great big toe up the leg. The origin is the middle anterior of the surface of the fibula, and the insertion of the distal phalanx of the first big toe right here. So next we're going to do the pronaris longus and brevis. So to find the pronaris longus, you do eversion and plantar flexion, which is down. So then you'll see that this muscle right here is the pronaris longus, and the origin is the head of the fibula and proximal of 2/3 of the lateral fibula, so about right here. And the insertion is the base of the first metatarsal and the medial cuneiform. Then you have your pronaris brevis, which is like the short muscle right there. So you do eversion and plantar flexion, the same thing. The origin is the distal 2/3 of the lateral fibula right here. And the insertion is the tuberosity of the fifth metatarsal, which is right here. So next we're going to do the gastric and soleus muscle. The gastric muscle is when you flex the knee and plantar flex the foot, so you point down. The gastric is aka also known as your calf muscle. The origin is the condyles of the femur right here, and then the calcaneus connects to the calcaneus and the Achilles tendon, which is the back of the foot right here. Your soleus is underneath your gastric, so you plantar flex the ankle, and it is the proximal posterior surface of the tibia and posterior aspect of the head of the fibula right there. And it also connects to your calcaneus and Achilles tendon because it lies underneath your gastric, which your gastric also has two muscle bellies that run up your leg on the posterior aspect. So next we're going to search for the tibialis posterior, flexor digitorum longus, and the flexor hallucis longus. So to palpate the tibialis posterior, you're going to do inversion and plantar flex. So that's this muscle right here. That is your posterior tibialis. The origin is proximal posterior shafts of the tibia and fibula, and the insertion is all 5 tarsal bones and base of the second metatarsals through the fourth. The flexor digitorum longus is when you plantar flexion of the ankle and invert the foot. And it runs on the plantar aspect of the foot all the way up to the posterior aspect of the leg. Your origin is the middle posterior of the surface of the tibia and the distal phalanges of the second through the fifth toes. Your flexor hallucis longus also is when you're in flexion and runs on the plantar aspect of the foot. The origin is the middle posterior surface of the tibia and distal phalanges of the second through the fifth. So they both run on the plantar aspect of the foot and back to the posterior aspect of the leg. I'm going to do the manual muscle tests for all the muscles. So first we're going to test the flexor hallucis longus. So I want you to curl your big toe around my finger, and I want you to hold it. Don't let me break it. And when I say hold, I'm going to count to 5, okay? Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we're going to test the flexor digitorum longus, the same thing with the other 4 toes. Curl it around my finger. I don't want you to break it. Okay, ready? Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're going to test the extensor hallucis longus. So I want you to put your toe in extension, and I'm going to press down on your toe, and I don't want you to break it, okay? Ready, hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Same thing with the other 4 toes. Don't break it. Ready, hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now we're going to test the anterior tibialis and the posterior tibialis. So to test for the anterior tibialis, you want to go eversion and dorsiflexion. So what I'm going to do is push the opposite, which is inversion and plantar flexion, okay? So I don't want you to break it, so I want you to hold 5 seconds. Ready, hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and relax. The next one is the posterior tibialis, so you're going to do inversion and dorsiflexion, and I'm going to do the opposite. Ready, hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and relax. So now we're going to test the prenatus longus and brevis. So what you do to test that is plantar flexion, which is pointing down, and eversion, which is in. So what I'm going to do is just push the opposite, which is inversion and dorsiflexion. And hold it, okay? Ready, hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now we're going to test the soleus and the gastric. So you can slide down and sit on it. No, on your stomach. Go on your stomach. Alright, so to test for the gastric, you have your knee not flexed, it's extended, and the patient is going to press on the gas. And then what you do is you would just push it down, so don't break it, okay? Ready, hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And for the soleus, your knee is flexed because you want to isolate the muscle as much as possible. You're going to do the same position where you step on the gas pedal. And I'm going to push the other way. Ready, hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And relax.